What's up, y'all? Sparty here. So for this video, I'm going to be doing a 4K 60 FPS fully stabilized comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra and the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So yeah, I will be shooting in the Pro mode on the S21 Ultra, but I'm not going to be changing any settings, so you don't have to worry about me doing any sort of manipulations in terms of that. It's just going to be the base settings, full auto, nothing like that. And I know people will be like, oh, but if you're going to be shooting full auto on the iPhone, why not shoot full auto on the S21 Ultra? Because shooting in the Pro mode gives you far more control over what you can do, for one. Two, it gives you the best possible outcome in terms of, say, video quality, and it's far more capable. And I can shoot in 21:9, which I feel will be a very good indicator as to which phone is which. So as I said, this is the S21 Ultra. Very nice, very stable. I'm gonna go a little bit faster here, so I'm not like, oh, go super slow, so it's like gliding footage. I'm gonna go a little bit quicker here. Do a little bit of a pan shot. Now, an issue that I've had with the S21 Ultra for the longest time is that the while I'm recording, the feed is quite choppy. It's very weird. But when I look back after the fact to the recording, when I'm done recording it, it's totally fine, no choppiness. So Samsung really needs to work on that. Don't have that issue on my V60, G8, any of my other phones, even phones that I wouldn't classify as a phone that I would use for video, like the OnePlus 6T. I don't see why this phone, when it can do very good video, very quality video, gives me this sort of stuttery feel while I'm using it. But I'm gonna switch over to the iPhone here. Okay, so this is the iPhone. Unfortunately, there's not any sort of HDR kind of thing I can do right now. It's very contrasty today, very gray and murky, so apologies for that, but this is the best I can do. What I will say is that the stabilization is definitely stronger on the S21 Ultra, but it also crops significantly more. So you're going to have to pick your poison in terms of that. For me personally, I don't really mind, but if you don't really like that, I would advise you to just not use the stabilization option. That's why I feel phones like the V60 does a little bit better. It doesn't crop in nearly as much. And to me, that's quite nice. But in terms of this, quite stable. Looks very nice. The clouds have good definition in them. Really no issues in terms of that. The grass is green. You can actually see the blades of grass rather than them being clumped up like they kind of were on the 12 Pro Max. So that's actually very nice and very promising. But let me do a little panning shot here. And on both phones, in the Pro video mode, what you can't do is you can't zoom out into the wide angle, but you can zoom into a cropped 10x zoom from the main sensor. Whereas on here, you can only go to 3x zoom and you can't zoom out. So if you want to get a wide angle 4K 60 frames per second shot, you're going to have to go into the wide angle and then record, and then press record then. And then you can crop in a little bit from the wide angle sensor to get a 1x zoom, I believe. But it's honestly whatever. I think both do a decent job. But honestly, I'm gonna switch back over to the S21 Ultra here to show you guys how that looks one more time. Okay, so clearly, as you guys can see, the crop factor is pretty terrible. It's pretty egregious. But with 21:9, you can definitely get a little bit more in terms of in the frame, but it's definitely cropped in, so that definitely does suck. It's why I don't necessarily like recording video on my S21 Ultra, but as you guys can see, the clouds have pretty good definition as well. I think the iPhone does a little bit better in that regard, but in terms of individual blades of grass, as you get farther, obviously it gets a little bit more clumpy. When you're closer, say like right here, it looks a little bit more defined, but overall I do feel like the iPhone does a tad bit better there, honestly. But you're gonna have to pick your poison there. When it comes to using both of these for things like, say, my typical videos, both of them do very well. So doing these outside videos really do show a little bit more of the flaws as to what these smaller mobile phone sensors can do and what they can't do. So yeah, in terms of this, very nice. I wouldn't say the S21 Ultra is bottom of the pack in terms of video recording. It's definitely above average, but I would still pick my V60 in particular far over this, and I would pick the 13 Pro Max far over this for video as well. And especially since you can't do HDR in 4K 60 mode, you can only do it in 1080p 30. That's something that I feel is kind of stupid. When you have this phone that has this big sensor that can draw in a whole bunch of light and a whole bunch of HDR type, color and all that stuff, it kind of makes no sense to me that it can't do any better than 1080p 30 with HDR 10 plus. To me, that sucks. But overall, in terms of which one I like better, I like the iPhone slightly better. I like the stabilization on the S21 Ultra better, but honestly, this crop factor is a bit much. I don't have my V60 on me, so I can't give you a side-by-side comparison, but I feel the V60, for how smooth that video is and for how stabilized that video tends to be, I can deal with the crop that phone tends to have. But yeah, this is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for support. Hope you guys have a wonderful, what is it, Thursday? Whatever time of day it is in your area. Have a good one.